Stuart Smith from Colchester died 3 days after being questioned by police, with his family claiming officers used excessive force when they arrested him. The case has now been referred to the Independent Police Complaints Commission. One officer has been suspended and another put on restricted duties. Although an initial post-mortem showed Mr Smith, who was 37, died of an overdose, police decided further tests should be carried out.
Well, next, the percentage of students who gained 5 GCSEs at grades A to C has been published, and it's a mixed picture in our region.
Yes, here in the east, the average number to get 5 GCSEs in that category was 68.3, which is below the national average of 69.7%.
Well, our best performing county was Hertfordshire. Less impressive were the figures from Norfolk, as Sasha's been finding out.
At Reefham High in Norfolk, Year 11 are working hard towards next year's exams. They're proud of their results here. Last year, 82% of their students achieved at least 5 GCSE grades A to C. But it's been a much more mixed picture in the rest of the county. Norfolk has one of the worst average results for GCSEs in our region. Nationally, almost 70% of children achieved 5 GCSEs at A to C. Here in the east, our average falls slightly short of that at 68.3. The only one of our counties to be above that national average was Hertfordshire, with more than 73% of students getting those all-important grades. Cambridgeshire and Milton Keynes were above the regional average, but Essex, Luton, Bedford, Suffolk and Central Bedfordshire all fell shy of it. And at the bottom of the regional table were Norfolk and Peterborough, both achieving around 62%. But Norfolk County Council says the results don't do its schools justice. It points out they're actually a 4% improvement on last year's average.
There are 3 big things we're doing. Number one is we're improving our rate much faster than the other authorities. We've had an improvement of 10 percentage points in the last 5 years, and that's at a faster rate than is happening nationally. We're really focusing on all those schools with low results. There are a number of schools we're converting into academies. We've got a very strong support from our head teachers and teachers, and we're very confident that it'll improve even further in the future.
One school hoping to prove a point is the somewhat controversial Heartsease Academy in Norwich, where they've been today celebrating the topping out of their new building.
There we are. Well done. How about that?
The academy was built to help meet the government target that at least 30% of pupils at every school should get 5 A to C by 2011. The results here this year are double what they were last year. 47% got the top grades. But the new data comes at a time when more criticism is being levelled at the GCSE, the latest coming from the chairman of BT, who said the exam should be abandoned in favour of a more credible international baccalaureate system. Back in Reefham, they're concentrating on keeping their results at the top of the table, so much so that they've just opened a brand new sixth form centre. And across Norfolk, there's the hope that next year the county will pass the national average with flying colours.
And if you want to recap on those GCSE results for where you live, the details are all on our website.
Yes, the address is itv.com/Anglia, and we've got a full county-by-county breakdown.
Now then, after returning home from Afghanistan, soldiers at Carver Barracks in Wimbish in Essex were today honoured for their service in front of their family and friends. Nearly
100 military bomb disposal experts were presented with their campaign medals, among them 2 men who've developed a very special bond, as Claire McGlasson now reports.
Back in uniform for the first time since the day he was injured, taking his place in the regiment once again. Sapper Matthew Weston on parade at Carver Barracks in Wimbish near Saffron Walden, 3 months after he was injured by explosives during a search operation in Afghanistan.
You need to be positive, because if you're not, you just don't make it. So. But me surviving was just luck, you know. A mixture of having the right people there at the right time and luck, to be honest. So that's the only reason I survived.
Matthew's life was saved by Lance Corporal David Timmins, who gave him first aid on the scene. But 10 days later, as Matthew lay in hospital, he heard there had been a second explosion. Lance Corporal Timmins was rushed to the same ward.
One of those moments, you know, wasn't a dry eye sort of thing, you know, because he's like, what are you doing here, sort of thing, and I'm like, well, this is what's happened. Yeah, it was good to see each other, but bad to see each other under the circumstances.
But during today's parade, there were 2 soldiers missing from the ranks. 2 soldiers who were killed in action. Sapper Jordan Rossi and Captain Daniel Shepherd, both killed by explosions.
We will remember them.
Meanwhile, at Westminster today, confirmation that 3 companies from 1st Battalion, the Royal Anglian Regiment, are on their way to Afghanistan, having spent several weeks training at the Stanford battlegrounds near Thetford. Back at Wimbish, bomb disposal experts from 3-3 Engineer Regiment were awarded campaign medals. But they haven't always had a hero's welcome. After he returned to Britain, Sapper Weston was taunted by teenagers on the streets of Birmingham.
They could see a vulnerable lad with his mum, girlfriend and sister. We couldn't do anything to fight back, so, you know, we were an easy target. He's made us promises, he's going to get better, he's going to make the most of his life, and we've promised to stand there and be there for him, for the good and the bad. And so far, so good.
The next step is learning to walk on prosthetic legs. And he has no doubt that one day he'll stand to remember those who've fallen. Claire McGlasson, Anglia News, Wimbish, near Saffron Walden.
It's 6:15, and at 6:30 we'll be handing you over to London for the ITV. More news now from your part of the region, and a bicycle charity based at Colchester has criticised health and safety rules which have stopped a police force donating to them.
Hampshire police used to hand over bicycles to recycle, which sends them to Africa. But that stopped because the force says it could be sued if someone has an accident. Laura Burns reports.
All shapes, all sizes. At Recycle in Colchester, bicycles have been sent from all over the country to help people in the third world. But Hampshire Police has stopped sending its bikes here because it says it can't do safety checks and fears it could be liable if someone injures themselves.
In Africa, they don't have this litigation blame mentality that we sadly have now in the West. But also our partners do important work in looking after the bikes and maintaining them and servicing them. So by keeping the bikes in good working order, there's very little risk of mishap anyway.
Recycle has sent more than 30,000 bicycles to Africa over the last 10 years. It ships containers to countries like Kenya, Ghana, Uganda and South Africa. They're used by medical staff and aid workers in places where public transport is poor or non-existent. But Hampshire Police says while it's sympathetic to the charity's work, there are problems with donating bicycles from the force's property stores. In a statement they said, "The force is not able to supply unclaimed bicycles to charity, as it does not have the resources available to conduct thorough safety tests of every bicycle in its possession. Hampshire Constabulary is not excluded from legal liability in the event of any subsequent personal injuries or property damage related to a bicycle previously held in storage by the force." But Recycle says all the safety checks are done before they're used abroad. The charity just hopes this situation can be overcome, so Hampshire Police's bikes can once again be added to its total. Laura Burns, Anglia News.
Let's hope they can resolve that. It's such a good charity.
Next, Essex police are renewing their appeal for information about the suspected murder of a missing man after new CCTV footage came to light. Until now, it was believed to be the last sighting of Paul Duckenfield. It was believed it was at Stansted Airport on the 15th of September last year. But officers now know the 41-year-old, who's believed to have been involved in distributing anabolic steroids, was seen that evening at the Palm Trees restaurant in Great Sailing near Braintree. His body has never been found. He previously featured in an episode of ITV's The Cook Report.